Hey, Michelle, how's everything going?
Hey, Lindsay, I'm good. I'm excited. It's almost New Year's Eve. It's almost
Oh my gosh. Do you have any
2022. Oh my
plans for New
gosh.
Year's this year? What are you going to do?
Uh, probably I'm gonna
Yes.
watch TV, and that's probably it. Maybe, or I'm sure I'm gonna be ordering food or something like that. But just being with my tiny family.
Well, I'm
How about you?
supposed to be in Germany actually, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen with everything that's going on. I have no idea. I mean, we're recording this at the beginning of December and, we just don't know, Michelle. I don't know. So I have no idea where I'll be on New Year's, but I think I'll be happy because ready to ring in 2022, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, I hope you get to
Thank
go
you.
on
Yeah,
your
I hope so
trip.
too. Michelle, this is a really good time to summarize. And by the way, guys, we are on YouTube today. So if you go
That's
over
right.
YouTube, check us out. You'll be able to see us and our expressions as we talk to each other today in this episode. Michelle, what are we getting into today?
Well, sometimes dictionaries like to do kind of a wrap up of the year or say what is an important
Yeah.
word from the year. So actually, Cambridge Dictionary came up with, they have a blog post, guys, and they came out with their word of the year for 2021. So it's always good to see these things and see, because it kind of, I don't know, it keeps your finger on the pulse of like what's been happening. It's kind of interesting to summarize a year in one word in a way. Like that was the top
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
So should we tell
Yeah, let's
everybody what
not
it
bury
is?
the lead here, Michelle. Let's go ahead and let them know what the
No.
word is. What is it?
It is perseverance.
Perseverance. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I guess this makes sense, right? And in a minute, we're going to talk about why it makes sense. But I want to let our listeners know, guys, we are going to be having a challenge, our first ever New Year's challenge for you. You're going to be able to join, and as long as you join our email list so that you can hear about it. So go over to allearsenglish.com/new 2022. That's NEW2022 and sign up for that list. You will hear about the challenge very soon. It's coming soon. So get on the list, guys. All right? Cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's exciting. So, guys, this is from Cambridge Dictionary's blog, and it was published on their blog November 17th, 2021. I believe the blog is called
Okay.
About Words. So check that out. So November 17th, they put it on their blog. It's called Cambridge Dictionary's Word of the Year 2021. So definitely check that out. So, guys, yeah, I'm just going to quote from the article. They said, we wanted to choose a word that represented your experiences as learners of English. And we are happy to announce that our word of the year 2021 is perseverance. So that's a quote. So, I mean, Lindsay, what does the word perseverance mean to you? Number one, in general, and then also maybe just in the year 2021, like how does
Yeah,
this
I mean,
apply to you?
before I answer that, one question I have is how do they come up? So do they just choose? I was under the impression that this is the word that's most frequently searched for or looked for. I mean, I guess maybe Google could do that rather than the Cambridge English Dictionary, but is this just kind of more objective, more subjective, where they go in as a team and they choose a word that encapsulates the year, Michelle? Or is this based on data? I don't really know.
I do know that it is based on some data because I'll read you another
Yeah.
little section of the article. It said it's word perseverance is not usually used by learners of English, but our data showed that our users across the globe looked it up over 243,000 times in 2021.
Okay, yeah.
And then it talks about how over 30,000 of those, this is interesting, were between February 14th and
Yep.
the 24th after NASA's Perseverance rover
Yes.
landed on Mars.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So, right. So, like, they wanted to see what people wanted to see what it meant. But it also, meant. I know that they have that bit of data, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure, maybe they mentioned something else about in general. But, they talk about going to Mars, and they talk about, perseverance with the
I know.
health crisis, the global health crisis. So,
Yeah.
Lots of things.
Yeah, that's
like
why this does make sense with the rover thing that I know I heard about that. That was an event in the beginning of the year combined with the pandemic, the global health crisis, that we are, perseverance when it comes to the health issue that's going on right now in the world. Michelle, what does that mean to you? I mean, how does that play in?
Perseverance with what's going on. Hold on. Let's talk about
Good
what
idea.
perseverance means. First of all, Lindsay, what does it mean to you? Because the article has a definition, but let's just talk about what
okay.
Does
So perseverance means that you keep trying, whether you succeed or not. It's probably you fail, you keep trying. In my mind, that's what it means. It's to not give up, and this is a big part of our narrative in American culture. That's for sure, isn't it?
Right.
Huge.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we've talked a little bit actually over the year about like whether that's like a good thing or a bad thing, this idea of like, oh, you can't give up. And, we've talked about things like that in relation to people like Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles and things like that. And not that they didn't persevere, but, in the traditional sense, like, this idea that like we can't say no, this isn't working for me, and we talked about how it's actually okay to do that, but I don't think that those examples did not persevere. I think it's just in a non-traditional way that we don't necessarily always take the time to value and say like this is a good part of perseverance and it should be valued in its own way.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we've touched on those issues in sports. I mean, in their case, it's more about there's some other entity that is, causing their experience to be hurtful for them. Right. So it's not as much about the personal. When I think of perseverance, I think of just the everyday person, just trying to make it work in the world. You know what I mean? Just trying to make it work. I think about small business owners who are, maybe they had a tough year, tough 2 years, right? But they,
especially like
oh my gosh, the bar down the street, the cafe that they had to close down, the lockdowns. That is what, everyday people on the street. That's what perseverance makes me think of, right?
Exactly. And guys, we did an episode about being resilient. So you can check out that episode for more on this topic, but it's episode 1451, how to be resilient with one key English expression.
Yeah, resilience. So, that's another, that's very related, right? Very, very similar.
So Lindsay, should we use this word in a sentence?
Let's do it. Okay, here's a sentence, guys. So write this down. Her perseverance was what was able to get her through her job search, even though it was tough. Yeah, that's another good example, Michelle, job hunting.
Yeah, because you can, oh my gosh, with job hunting, it can be a full-time job, right? Just looking for a job, contacting people, sending out resumes, and, it can be tough. So you have to have perseverance when you're on a job hunt. Another example is we're about to go through a tough financial time, but with perseverance, we will succeed. And
exactly. And another real life example for me, I've talked about lately, we bought a house finally, and the entire fall, actually probably starting in the spring or the summer, we started looking. So we looked at like probably 35 houses, maybe so a lot of houses, and just went in, made offers, didn't get it, but we just kept going. And you really do. I think in this day and age, whether it's house searching, job searching, you just have to keep going. You have to keep persevering. And that's the verb, right, Michelle? To persevere. Guys, keep going, keep pushing. And eventually something will work out. Our agents kept saying you'll get something eventually. I was skeptical, actually. I was like, I don't know if we're going to find something. And we did. They were right. So.
Right. Well, I'm so glad you did. But you have to persevere in a house search as well, for sure. There's so many things, like you said, in day-to-day life, not just with like, celebrities and people like that, but day-to-day life, especially now. But you could also say, let's persevere and get the job done. So, I mean, what do you think about this word? I mean, we've been kind of touching on this a little bit. I mean, is it good to put so much emphasis on this idea of like not giving up? Like, do we always have to persevere, and what does that mean? Like I was touching on before, sometimes perseverance doesn't look like like what you think it would look like with those examples that I gave. And I think in some ways, perseverance, like, are you allowed to take a step back and still be considered that you're
I mean, I think that the thing to consider here is being smart about what you're actually persevering at. Right? Because imagine if we're digging for gold, but we're digging in the wrong lot. Right? We're digging in the totally wrong place. The gold is across town, but we're digging here, and we're just going to persevere and keep digging. That's just dumb. Right. So, so that's not honorable. As we say in American culture that perseverance is honorable. That's not honorable. That's dumb. So stepping back and thinking, am I digging in the right place? Am I digging the right holes? Right. And I think in that case, if we know we're digging the right holes, it is smart. But otherwise, it's just, so there's room for being analytical when it comes to where you're going to dig the hole. This proverbial hole that we're going to dig.
Okay. There's.
Do you like my analogy?
Oh my gosh! What was that quote? I like this quote. I think you said that's not digging, that's just dumb, or something like that. I feel like that should be if you were running for president.
Oh yes, my slogan.
Your slogan, something like that. Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. We also. I mean, I think to persevere can be a very personal word for people, and what does that mean to you, and how does it impact your life? Things like mental health have definitely come more into the forefront as we've been going through a global health crisis and things like that, and I do hope that more of an emphasis is placed on that in the future, and the fact that if you are struggling with something, or that it's not considered not persevering.
For sure. I mean, kind of changing the dynamic, changing the scales, the values a little bit, I think is good, to take into account our mental state. I mean, also, if you're not feeling good, if you're just not feeling right or in a good place, even if you do persevere, you're not going to get the results you want. Right? You're just not going to achieve it. So you kind of need to be aligned, mind, body, and spirit in a way, if you are persevering on a certain project or something. Right?
Right. And now, how do you think this applies to our listeners, to someone who is, listening to this show? How can this word apply to their life? I mean, this idea of, persevering with English, persevering with
I mean, speaking of our listeners, just yesterday, I got a lot of messages, Michelle, on Instagram from our listeners who had All Ears English in their top shows from Spotify. Spotify does a summary at the end of every year. I don't know if you know about that. Maybe you got that yourself for your own podcast that you listen to. We got a ton of messages from you guys showing us your charts and that All Ears English was at the top, in the top 5. And that is amazing. I want to shout out. You should see the list, Michelle. Go into our Instagram account. It's amazing. And I'm sending out thank yous to everyone. Thank you to you guys for listening. And this ties in because I know a lot of you guys are at a point where you're hitting a plateau. You're hitting that wall, right? That plateau, right, Michelle? What is the plateau? Just so we know.
It's kind of like you're getting to you reach a certain level, and then you feel maybe that you're not continuing to grow. Stagnation.
It's a good bonus word for today, stagnation. So when you guys are at that point, what you have to do is persevere by making English learning part of your daily routine. Make it fun. That's why at All Ears English we want to have fun here. We like to laugh, right, Michelle?
Oh, do we ever? Yes, guys. We believe in not getting in your head too much, focusing on connection, not perfection, as we always talk about. But yeah, this is this idea of persevering when it comes to learning a language, practicing, like going out and speaking to people and persevering and not letting, little mistake here and there, make you feel, okay, I can't do this, or feel low, because you guys can all do it. You can
exactly, Michelle. So when you're having a hard time persevering, when you want to give up, step back and find the joy in what you're doing, right? Find that joy, find that sense of that spark, that life energy, that joy. Yes. And this is a great way to do it right here with All Ears English, right, Michelle? Awesome. So good.
Absolutely. So, Lindsay, happy almost New Year. Guys, the takeaway is, whatever perseverance means to you, take that ideal with you. This is a word that, Cambridge Dictionary has chosen as a top word. So I feel like everybody kind of is connecting around this word, looking to use this word. It talked about, people using this as, when learning a language and things like that. So check out that post, but think about what perseverance means to you, because it might be very different to you than it is
100%.
to someone else. So, definitely let us know, what does it mean to you, and how have you persevered this year?
All right, Michelle, good stuff. Thanks for hanging out with me on the mic today.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
Have a good one.